Good morning, students. Welcome to our online lecture series. I am Professor Rahul Brahmane. Today, we will learn chemical characteristics of non-hazardous waste, or the chemical characteristics of the solid waste. Okay. So this is our, I think, fifth lecture of solid waste management. In previous some lecture, we already learned about the various things which are related to the solid waste management. Okay, that is hazardous waste, non-hazardous waste. Okay, so today, now we will discuss, or we will learn about the chemical characteristics of the solid waste. In previous lecture, we already discussed or learned the physical characteristics of the solid waste. So today, in this lecture, we will discuss about the various chemical characteristics of the solid waste. So first is pH level. pH level. Okay. So all of you know what is pH level, what is pH. pH means hydrogen of potential ion. Okay. So generally the pH of the solid waste is slightly acidic to neutral. Okay. So pH value is affects on the decomposition rate of the solid waste. Okay, at the time of composting or the in the landfills. Okay, so pH level is important. So in short, the pH level of the solid waste or municipal solid waste is slightly acidic to neutral. Okay, then next chemical characteristics of the solid waste is organic content and volatile solid. Okay, organic content and volatile solids. So high organic matter, a significant portion of municipal solid waste is composed of organic material that contributes to biochemical oxygen demand and chemical oxygen demand. Okay, so next is decomposition. So this organic content is crucial for the biogas production in the anaerobic digestion process. Okay, aerobic and anaerobic process. I think we already discussed in the previous some lecture. Okay, aerobic means what? The reaction which takes place in presence of the oxygen, that is aerobic process. And anaerobic digestion process means what? The reaction or the chemical composition or the process which is completed in absence of oxygen, that is called as anaerobic process. Okay. Then next chemical characteristics is carbon to nitrogen ratio. Carbon to nitrogen ratio. So see, a balanced carbon nitrogen ratio. Okay, so solid waste having carbon nitrogen ratio, and there is a balanced carbon nitrogen ratio typically around the 20:1 and 20:1 or 30:1 is the balanced carbon nitrogen ratio. Okay, and this carbon nitrogen ratio is also affect on the composting process or degradation process. Okay, so these characteristics is called as carbon to nitrogen ratio. Okay, now the next point or the next characteristics of the waste is elemental composition. Okay, elemental composition. So basic elements contains the carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and sometimes sulfur. Okay. Then pollutants. So pollutants can also contain the trace amount of heavy metals. Okay. So in the solid waste having the various hazardous metal like lead, cadmium, and mercury, we already discussed in previous lecture. Okay. So particularly if hazardous waste are mixed in. Okay. So elemental composition means what? The element which present in the solid waste uh, in how much portion, that is elemental composition. Okay. Then next is calorific value. Okay. So calorific value means what? See, energy content depends on the organic and inorganic fractions, influencing its potential for energy recovery through the incineration or other thermal process. Okay. So see, the solid waste or from the solid waste, we uh, recover the energy through the incineration process. Incineration means what? Burning. Burning of the solid waste in the closed chamber, that is incineration process. Okay. Or other thermal process. So by using the incineration or other thermal process, we can recover the energy of the solid waste. Okay. Then see, moisture impact. High moisture content generally lower the calorific value. Okay. If see basic things, that is if the high moisture content in that solid waste, then the burning rate of the that solid waste is slow. Okay. So automatically the lower the calorific value. Okay. Then next is presence of toxins and chemical pollutants. Presence of toxins and chemical pollutants. So see, contaminants, municipal solid waste may include the substances like chlorinated organic compounds, then polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons and other chemicals that can pose the environment risk. Okay. So generally in the solid waste, there is having some chemical pollutants, okay, which are harmful to the environment, like polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. Okay. Then next is management consideration. So proper segregation and treatment are necessary to manage this potential hazard. So to minimize the risk, of the these types of toxins and chemical pollutants, what we can do? So we can do the we can segregate the solid waste properly, or we can separate out the these types of harmful chemicals or pollutants properly, so we can minimize the risk of toxins and chemical pollutants to the environment. Okay. So the next topic or next point, that is impact of solid waste on the environment. So in this slide or in this topic, we will discuss about the various impact of the solid waste on the environment. Okay. So we discuss one by one. Okay. So first is land pollution. Land pollution. So um, solid due to the solid waste, the land pollution is arises. Okay. So see, uncontrolled dumping and landfills. Okay. So land pollution is arises or happen due to the uncontrolled dumping and landfills, means the solid waste is dumped anywhere in the ground. Okay. And landfills. So due to that, what happened? Land pollution is arises or increases the land pollution. Okay. See, open dumping of waste leads to land degradation, loss of soil fertility, and aesthetic pollution. Okay. So due to uncontrol of dumping, what happened? So loss of soil fertility. Okay, because the presence of various chemicals and toxic parameter present in the solid waste. So because of that, the soil fertility is decreases. Okay. Then next is soil contamination. Soil contamination. So we already discussed various hazardous waste like metals, lead, mercury, cadmium. Okay. So these types of metal is mixed with soil, and that soil is toxic and which is very harmful, or we can say it is unfit for the agriculture purpose. Okay. So we can say these hazardous metals or the hazardous waste or these types of heavy metals are responsible for the uh, loss of soil fertility. Okay, because the soil is contaminated. Okay, because due to the mercury, cadmium, or lead, which is mixed with the soil, and the soil contamination is happen. Okay. So the next is loss of land. Increasing the waste accumulation reduces the availability of land for other use such as housing or agriculture. Okay. So these points are land pollution. Okay. Then second point, or second sub point, that is water pollution. So see, I think this is the impact major impact of the solid waste on the water pollution. Okay. So see how water pollution happens due to the solid waste environment. See, leachate formation. Leachate formation. Okay. So see, first of all, we discuss about what is mean by leachate. Okay. See, leachate means what? See, uh, in the landfills or in the dumping yard, there is a municipal solid waste or any waste, okay, which is collected at the dumping yard. Okay. Then that dumping yard or that solid waste is in contact with the fresh water. Okay. And then that water is contaminated. Okay. And having some bacteria, because the solid waste having some bacteria and which is mixed in the water. So that water is water is also mixed with that bacteria. Okay. Or that water is not clean. Okay. So the that water is infiltrate from the uh, infiltrate from this solid waste dumping yard, and the dirty water is made, or the dirty water is arises. So that is called as leachate. Okay. I think you all understood what is meant by leachate. Okay. And see, landfill produce the leachate, a toxic liquid, and that seeps into the groundwater. Okay. So see, we know we now discuss about what is meant by leachate and how leachate produce. Okay. So leachate having the uh, various bacteria and toxic liquid that seeps into the groundwater and surface water, contaminating the drinking sources. Okay. So see, the water is infiltrated from the solid waste, and which is very harmful and toxic, and this type of leachate is mixed with the fresh water, and what happen, the fresh water is polluted. Okay. Then next is marine pollution. Okay. Plastic and other non-biodegradable waste dumped into the river and oceans harm aquatic life and disturb the marine ecosystem. Okay. So generally water pollution, the main impact of the solid waste on the water pollution. So there is having, I think, two main parameters, that is leachate formation and marine pollution. Okay. So this is the water pollution or impact of solid waste on the water pollution. Then third is air pollution. Air pollution. So in the air pollution, we can see how the air pollution is arises or increases the air pollution due to the solid waste. Okay. So see, burning of waste, burning of waste. So open burning of waste releases the toxic gases like carbon monoxide, then sulfur dioxide and dioxins, which contributes to air pollution and respiratory diseases. See, uh, for the for the proper waste, for the burning of the solid waste, so there is a release of various toxic gases like carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, and some toxins. And see, these types of various gases which is very harmful for the human body, or we can say it arises the respiratory diseases. Okay. Then next is greenhouse gas emission. Greenhouse gas emission. So decomposing organic waste in landfill generates the methane. Okay. So see, uh, at the time of landfill or in the landfill, the solid waste is degrade, okay, or decompose. And by decomposition of that solid waste generates the methane, that is CH4 methane, then a potent greenhouse gas that contributes to climate change. Okay. Then bad odor. Okay. Or decomposing waste, particularly food and organic matter, releases the unpleasant odor, right? Okay. Affecting the air quality and human well-beings. Okay. So these are the air pollution which arises due to the solid waste generation. Okay. So the next point, next impact of the solid waste is climate change. Climate change. So see, first is methane emission. Methane emission. Landfills are the major source of methane, a greenhouse gas that is 25 times more potent than the carbon dioxide in trapping heat. Okay. Then carbon footprint, transporting and processing waste consumes energy and contributes to the global CO2 emission. Contributes to the global CO2 emission. Then the next climate change is deforestation. Deforestation. Okay. Deforestation. See, increased paper and wood waste contributes to deforestation, reducing the earth capacity to absorb CO2. Okay. So see, all of you know that paper is generated, or paper paper is made from the wood. Okay. So for increasing paper and wood waste contributes the deforestation. Okay. And reducing the earth capacity to absorb the CO2. Okay. So these are the some impact. Okay. Then next, that is fifth impact, that is threat to wildlife and ecosystem. Okay. So now in this point, we discuss the impact of solid waste on the threat to wildlife and ecosystem. Okay. So see, first is plastic pollution. Plastic pollution. Animals and marine species uh, ingest plastic waste, leading to injuries, okay, and death. Okay. So Then next is habitat destruction. So unregulated dumping sites and landfill expansion destroy the natural habitats. Okay. Then next is chemical bioaccumulation. So see, toxic waste enters the food chain, accumulating in the animals and affecting ecosystem over time. Okay. So these are the major impact happen on the wildlife and ecosystem due to the solid waste. Then next is health hazardous. Okay. I think this impact is very major impact of the solid waste on the environment or the human body. Okay. So health hazardous. So see, disease spread. Disease spread. So accumulated waste attracts the pests like rodents, then flies and mosquitoes, which spread the disease like malaria, dengue, and cholera. Okay. So due to solid waste, there is having or that waste attracts the various pets or pests, okay, or various mosquitoes. Then and due to this, uh, which spreads the diseases like malaria, dengue, and cholera. Cholera. Okay. Then next is toxic exposure. So see, hazardous waste hazardous waste, including e-waste and biomedical waste, can causes poisoning, then skin diseases and respiratory problems. Okay. Then mental and social impact. Okay. So poor waste management lowers the quality of life, reduces the property values, and increase the stress in community. Okay. So these are the some important impact due to solid waste. And the last impact is economic impact. Economic impact. So see, high cleanup cost. High cleanup cost. So government spend large sums of waste cleanup, disposal, and pollution control. Okay. So the next is tourism decline. Poor waste management reduces the appeal of tourist, okay, or decline the tourist or affecting local economies. Okay. Then next is reduced agricultural productivity. So due to soil contamination from the waste, disposal affects the crop yield and the food safety. Okay. So see, very dangerous impact due to the solid waste happens on the various parameter. Okay. Like economic impact, then health hazardous, then wildlife and ecosystem, air pollution, climate change, land pollution, and water pollution. So these are the impact of solid waste on the environment. Okay. So in this way, we discuss about the various impact happen on the environment due to the solid waste. Okay. So the remaining part we will discuss in the next lecture. Okay. Thank you. So I hope you all understood the today's topic. Okay. So remaining portion we will discuss or we will learn in the next lecture.